Welcome back to the channel and to the second part of building this C3 Picasso. I'd just like to say thank you to all those that have subscribed to the channel, because there obviously is an interest in fixing this car, so thank you very much. But I'd also like to just say that this is I'm going to call it a real-time build, because as those of you who watch any of the channel know, I build cars, I sell them, that's how I make my money. But this is kind of a project where I need to get it fixed on the side. So I hope you don't mind. It will be a little bit of a delay between the first and second and the second and the third videos, but we've made some progress and I'm going to show you what's been happening. So we're going to take a look inside the garage, look at all the mess, and I'll show you what's been happening to the 208 GTI. So here we are. The GTI is no longer a full car anymore. We do have the engine and gearbox now on the floor, so that's been removed, and we will be taking the gearbox off. We'll be checking the clutch, replacing it, and also the timing chain. We'll be doing all that work on there, obviously full service, and getting it all ready to go into the C3, obviously to try and get that running. But let's have a look at the rest of the car now. So there's not much left of it. Everything has been removed that I need, and obviously some parts that we've sold. So the windscreen's already gone, the bonnet, the bumper, those already have been sold, but we've not left anything there that we don't need. So just having a look, I have put some other bits of rubbish. This will be going tomorrow, so therefore I will be getting my garage back, but I've got to go back to work this week now, doing the normal jobs, repairing and earning some money, so then we can carry on shortly with the build. But obviously we've got all the interior, we've got the rear brakes, the fuel pump, we've got the whole wiring loom in here, including the BSI, the ECUs, everything, the whole wiring uncut is in that box there. We've still got the interior, the wheels to go. We've got some other bits over there. It's the throttle pedal, so I'm not sure if we need that one or whether we can get away with the old one. And for now, obviously both discs and hubs are here, wishbones, drive shafts, ABS, gear linkages, all in that pile there. So really tomorrow the 208 will be going, and in that way we can have a clear up. I'll show you a couple of bits tomorrow on the next clip, on bits that do concern me that we won't find out until we strip the C3. But for at the moment, that's what's left of the GTI, so that's finished with that. And obviously engine, we need to get some work done on that, ready to go back into that one. So next time we come back to the video, we're going to be bringing the C3 inside. Well, no, first of all, we'll show you some of the bits from the other car there, because I want to make sure that we just explain a few bits. Then we'll be bringing the C3 inside. We'll be bringing it in, stripping the front suspension off, taking out the engine, taking the front off, and having a look at the drive shafts, wishbones, suspension, and see what problems we might end up with before we start fitting the engine in. So the next clip now, you'll see, we'll talk about some bits on the floor, and then we'll carry on. And after all that, the engine's out. So we'll take a look at what's been going on here. So the engine's all out now. I've also removed all the front suspension and wishbones, because they need to be checked about which ones we can use. We've still got the gear linkage selection that we've got to take through, because we need to change this one to the GTI. GTI being a 6-speed and this one being a 5-speed, so we need to change all that. And then we'll just check all the other stuff going on around the top there. But some of the important things that's worth showing you, I've laid them out so we can have a look at them. To start with, we've got the GTI lower arms. and the C3 lower arms. Now I've actually gone through them and looked at them, and I've cross-referenced them with parts people that we use, and actually they're the same unit. So what I will be doing, this, I was worried about the size of the ball joint, about which hub we're going to use, but we'll come on to that. So the thickness of the GTI ones and the C3 Picasso ones are exactly the same. So I did buy a new lower arm to get the GTI into the garage. So we'll replace the offside and we'll use these two on the C3, and we don't need to use those ones. The drive shafts themselves, when we have a look, obviously this is from the GTI and this one is from the 1.2 PureTech. So we can see the thickness of the drive shafts is really different. But overall, the actual length of the shafts, I think one's slightly shorter and one's slightly longer. I don't know if there's obviously a difference with the, if you look at the length of the or the output shaft there and there, slightly different. But obviously we're going to be using the 6-speed box, which this has come from. So the actual length of these are the same. The spline sections were the same and the bolt size were the same. So it didn't matter which hub we used, but we'll come on to that in a sec. It would have fitted the Picasso hub. So definitely getting these serviced, getting the joints sort of checked. The longer one, again, I think there is a very slight difference in the length by about 10 mil, but actually this is 10 mil shorter. The GTI one is 10 mil longer. So I got a feeling it's something to do with the way they sit against the 6-speed box that would do that. I mean, we're obviously using the other engine, but the brackets are in the same place. The splines are the same. So again, using the GTI's drive shafts because of the thickness to hopefully last a bit better. Moving on to the hubs. So I have measured everything. The GTI, as we said, the splines that go through the center are exactly the same. So we could have used either hub, but the GTI, the disc itself is 302 millimeters diameter, and the Picasso one is 283 diameter. So, and you can see the size difference on the pads. The lower one being the newer one is the Picasso, and the top one being the 308, the 208 GTI ones. So again, I think the best thing we can do is we're going to get some new discs anyway. I did drive the 208 and I didn't have any problems with the bearings in it, so that's okay. But if we turn them over, like we said, this size here of where the suspension goes in is important. There is apparently two different sizes. There's 51 millimeters and there's 47. That's an important thing. But as we've said, the bit for the ball joint is exactly the same. So we're able to use all the hub from the GTI, the drive shafts from the GTI, and the lower arms from the GTI will all fit into the subframe and the suspension setup on the C3. So that's great. I have gone and bought a set of coilovers. Now these are for a C3, which obviously the C3 Picasso uses the same stuff. And again, this is what I'm saying. This particular kit on the bottom, on the bottom here, this diameter is 51 millimeters. So I did check, and that's why I ordered this kit, because we knew that those and those are 51 mil, so that's fine. And obviously the rear shocks with the adjusters. Now these shocks are a cheap set of coilovers, but they are uprated 30%. The fronts will be able to lower between 30 to 70 mil, and the rears will lower between 30 to 60 mil. So I think for the budget I've got, these will be ideal for what I'm using. So that's that. Coming on to the back brakes, this surprised me. When I first bought the C3, I did have to do pads and discs all around, which is why they look new. On the back of the C3, the hubs are 249, the discs are 249 mil, and the pads are 80mm long. So that's that. And actually, when you check the GTI ones, they're exactly the same, 249mm with 80mm pads and the same calipers, Lucas rear calipers. So there's no difference in the rear setup between a 208 GTI at 208 horsepower or a 1.2 PureTech C3. So we'll be leaving these hubs, because obviously it's had new hubs and bearings all come as one. So that'll be staying on. I might look into getting a set of uprated discs, but I'm not too sure. We'll worry about that later. And obviously the springs and the shock absorbers will all be replaced on the back. Moving on to the cooling system. So again, I was quite surprised. If we look at, this is the GTI setup on the front. If we look, I'll tell you what, if we get a torch. So looking on here, if we look at the part number in there, you can see that the part number there is PA66C or C130, or this number here we can see is probably better, Denso 1 873 460 200. And if we look at the one on the C3 Picasso, a Denso rad 873 460 200. So the rads are exactly the same. The fans on them are exactly the same. The fan casing, the surrounds of it is actually the same. The only difference I've spotted, obviously there is a extra cooling fan on the intercooler, and there's not on that one. And also, if you look carefully, you see the size of that pipe and the size of that pipe are different. So I got a bit of no nails, but just to show you, that tube fits just in there. It's a nice tight fit, and I make that roughly around about 48mm. But if we go to the GTI one and put this one in here, we can see that there is a gap on there. So it's got bigger inlet and outlet on the intercooler, and that one is round about 58mm. So we're going to use this carcass, this rad, and the air conditioning one, because actually they're both really good quality compared to the GTI one's a bit falling apart on the bottoms. And we will fit that cooler and fan system into that holder and then put that all back in the car. So there's one last thing we just need to address, and that is the ECU and wiring issues. So if I set this up, so here is the ECU unit from the C3, 2 plugs. This one goes to the engine and this one goes to the body. Now I was hoping that these ones for the body would be the same for the C3 and the GTI, but actually if we look at the GTI one next to it, there's our problem. ECU from the C3, ECU from the 208 GTI. So again, these two connectors come off and go to the engine, and this one goes to the body, and this one goes to the body. Now in the GTI one, we've got around about 50 connectors, but in the C3 one, we have about 70 connectors. So that leaves us with a bit of a problem about how we're going to get this thing to actually even think about running and moving. Again, just I've been able to get some wiring diagrams. As I say, that's the ECU that we were just looking at, and that's the ECU from the Picasso. Looking through here, then you'll notice this is literally all the pins that are in every single plug, what they do, where they're numbered to, what colors they are. The GTI has got 8 pages of pins, so we need to go through all of these and find out which ones are doing what. And obviously that's one thing against the PureTech one. Again, in this wiring diagram we have 6 pages of pin locations, so you can see where the problem is going to be. We need to read through all of this and try and work out how we're going to get these 70 pins into this 50 pin block. So that's where we're going to leave this video for now. There is obviously a lot more we need to do, but I think we've covered enough in this video. All I can say is once we start the video on the next one, we'll be looking at inserting the springs and shocks. We would have already changed the gear selector, and then we'll have a go at fitting the GTI engine in and see if we can get it running. So if you've got any questions on where we've got to so far, sorry it was a bit long getting this far, but the next one will be a little bit quicker. But if you've got any comments, do leave it in the comment section below. And for now, I'll leave you with that, and I'll see you again in another video. Thanks for watching.